So once again, good morning everybody. It's nice to see you again. Welcome to this class. Mm, as I mentioned, as usual, today is Thursday. As every Thursday, you have homework. So please do the homework and remember the deadline is Sunday, right? We talk about the Pecha Kucha, the Strata task for Monday. Yes, so
It's for Monday.
yes, for Monday. Don't forget about that, please. Try to do it in advance because it's a kind of challenging, right? Mr. Javier, what happened? 2 days.
Oh, sorry. I have to work early these
Ah,
days.
okay, it's okay, as I imagined. I was worried, but I imagined that. Okay, actually, these 2 days we practiced past perfect simple and past perfect continuous. So I consider we can do the last practice or the last review before continue because this topic is important. And for today, the idea is to do a speaking task. But I think we can take some minutes to check for the last time past perfect simple and past perfect continuous. So let me look for the page again. This is page. Give me a moment. I think it's this one. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen in a while. So past perfect simple, past perfect continuous. Yes. So now I'm going to share my screen. Is here. So let's check a little. We're going to check the explanation and then do one exercise, and that's all because we work on this 2 days, right? If you have any question, you can ask me, Mr. Javier, and you can check the previous classes on the platform, okay? So, past perfect simple and continuous. So, past perfect simple. It says, we use past perfect simple to indicate that we're talking about something which happened before something which is described in the past. In other words, an action that happened before another action in the past. There's two actions in the past, but there's one action that happened first, right before. When he got the station, his friend had already left. So notice, this is past simple. When he got the station, it's a finished action. But before this happened this. His friend has already left. So as this is the first action that happened, goes in past perfect simple. And for past perfect simple, we use the auxiliary had, always had, and the verb in past participle, left, right? Then it says, compare this with, when he got the station, his train left. This indicated that the train left at the time he arrived. Typically with time expressions such as when, let me see, as soon as, after, or before. Past perfect simple, right? She started driving before he fastened his seatbelt. So, notice here we have an action in past simple. This is a verb pattern started. After starting, the next verb goes with ing, right? Before he fastened his seatbelt. And often with these adverbs, already, just, and never, like present perfect, right? Already, just, and never. He never eaten steak and candy pie until he came to England, right? Then, so far, do you have any question, Mr. Javier or Ariana? Okay, that's great, of course. So then we have present perfect continuous. So here we have some differences. We use the past perfect continuous to show that we're talking about something which happened before something which is described in the past simple, but is focused on the length of the time. It's similar to past perfect simple. An action before another action in the past, right? So far it's the same. But in this case, we focus on the time, on the duration, on the length. So, for example, Mandy need a walk because she, this apostrophe D is the contraction of had, right? The auxiliary. As it is a continuous tense, we use per to be. In this case, in past participle, been. And as well, with continuous tenses, we use gerum, sitting. So we need to use had plus been plus the main verb in gerum with ing. Sit down all day. So notice here this time expression, all day, is talk about the length of the action, right? She'd been sitting down all day. That's why it's present continuous. Said how long something happened up to a point in the past. So it was 2 months before any of the teachers noticed that Paula hadn't been coming to a school. So how long something happened up to a point in the past. So it was 2 months before any of the teachers noticed that Paula hadn't been coming at school. This is the point, right? 2 months before. He'd been playing for Arsenal for only 2 games when he scored her first goal. So here again we have for only 2 games. So here we focus on the completion of the action in past perfect simple, and here we focus on the time, on the length. So far, do you have any question? No questions? Okay, so let's try with an exercise and then we're going to do the speaking task, okay? Give me a moment. My computer is sorry, give me a moment. My computer is working. Let me see this one. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's try with this exercise. Mr. Javier, could you turn on your camera for a while? I'm going to take the attendance before I forget. Please. Mrs. Javier, do you hear me? I think he left. Okay, anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to share my screen to take advantage of the time. Uh,
My little
Thank you.
baby, wake up.
Oh, sorry, no worries. I completely understand.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to send this screenshot and then I'm going to share my screen. So give me a moment here. Attendance to each name. Okay. So now sharing my screen. So we're going to complete these sentences. We need to choose between past perfect simple or past perfect continuous. So the first one, Ariana.
Uh, Peter was Sally's best friend. She she had been knowing
Be
all
careful
her
with the verb
life.
now. She had been knowing, right? Let's try. Okay, Ariana, thank you. Or his life. Mr. Javier, number two.
Okay, the children were wet because were wet because they okay, the action is complete. Okay. They had played football in the rain.
Thank you. Number three, Ariana. We're going to check at the end. This is negative, right?
We we were very hungry because he mm, hadn't eaten.
Thank you. Number four, Mr. Javier.
I was delighted when I found my kids. I mm, I had been looking for them for hours.
So remember, this is I had looking, you need to use verb to be. I had been.
Yes, I had been looking.
Okay, Ariana, next one, please.
Mm, she was exhausted because mm,
Since
eh, she had been working.
awesome working. Everything was white because it's Mr. Javier.
Everything was wild because it, everything was like everything was wild because
White,
it
blanco. Todo estaba blanco.
white. Ah,
Yes.
I can read. I can read wild. Okay. Everything was white because it had been snowing.
Let's check. Okay. Ariana, the passengers were crossed because the airline
Had lost had had lost.
lost everyone's bags. Finally, Mr. Javier, notice this is negative.
Negative. Okay. I haven't
Hadn't
haven't seen
seen Jacob for several years, but I recognized him immediately. Okay, let's check the answers. Score, imagine. Okay, 3 out 80. So there's 5 mistakes. Okay, in the first one, why I told you be careful with the verb now. No, because no is an stative verb. It means we can use ing form with no. Knowing is a mistake, even though some people use it, or in songs or movies or something like that. But academically, grammatically, it's a mistake. I told you before about the real language and the ideal language, right? The real language is the one who follows the rule, but the real language is how people speak, and people make a lot of mistakes, right? And this mistake become something right, ¿sí? O sea, hay un idioma ideal, que es el que sigue todas las reglas, y un idioma real, que es el como realmente hablamos. Entonces, muchas veces cometemos errores y esos errores se terminan normalizando y terminan siendo aceptados como algo correcto. But in this case, knowing it is not possible, it is a mistake. So, had what? Ariana, what do you think? Had past participle no?
Had no.
No. Okay, thank you. The children were mm, wept because they have been playing, right? This is the direction of the action. Football in the rain. Okay, everywhere we were very hungry because we hadn't eaten. It's okay because there's no time specified here. I was delighted when I found my kids. I looked for them for hours. Okay, here is mentioned hours. It can sound as a tiny expression, but actually this refers to the past. Remember, we're talking about past, so it can become a little bit tricky. We need to be careful when the tiny expression just refers to the past or the duration of the action, right? That's different. So in this case, refers to the past. So had look. Okay, she was exhausted because she had been working. Okay, this is weird because this is supposed to be correct. Here we have the direction of the action. Since 8 o'clock that morning. We're going to check it. Everything was white because it had snow, right? This is a finished action. Snow as a verb. Let's try. Okay, the passengers were crossed because the airline had lost. Notice this is a finished action. And I hadn't seen. Notice here, several years. This is an expression, but it's not about the direction of the action, it's about past, right? So let's see the answers. Let's check. Ah, okay, it's because we need to use the construction. It is because that. So it is true. It's been working since 8 o'clock. That's correct. Okay, I've been looking my kids for hours. Actually, it was because most of them was because of some of them contraction. Notice here, as I mentioned it, knowing is a mistake. That's not correct, right? So far, do you have any question? It is clear, right? Time expressions and duration. Complete action in the past before an action before another action in the past, an action before another action in the past, but we focus on the time, in the length or in the direction. So several years just refers to the past, so simple. Okay, so now we're going to work on the speaking task. So I'm going to stop presenting that. I'm going to present my screen again. So first of all, we're going to check something in the book, it's page 38. Okay, remember, most of these exercises are based on Cambridge test, right? And Cambridge test evaluated written, reading, speaking, and listening, right? And grammar as well. So, sorry, it's page 37, actually. It's my bad. Give me a moment. My computer is a little bit slow. Okay. I hate this PDF. So we're going to read this speaking part 3, excellent information. So Mr. Javier, could you help us reading this chart, this blue chart, please?
Right. Okay. Main information. In speaking part 3, you and the other candidate must discuss a situation or problem together, reach a decision. The examiner gives you a page with a text consisting of a question of 5 different word prompts. You have 50 seconds to read and think about the task, and then you have 2 minutes to discuss your ideas. The examiner then asks you another question, which is not written down, and, so that you can summarize your thoughts. You will have 1 minute to do this. The first test your ability to interact by thinking, exchanging ideas, discussing opinion, suggesting, agreeing, disagreeing, what is etc. in English?
ETC, ETC.
Sí.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Javier. So remember, during the speaking task, you're going to be in pairs. And in some part of the task, you're going to ask to talk together, to work together, right? Work together. So we did this in B1. I remember that Adriana worked with Mr. Enrique, right? You did a task in which you have to decide which is the best way to spend the free time, or the best
Uh,
activity to relax, something like
with
that.
Angeli,
Ah, with Angeli. Do
I
you
think.
remember about that? These kind of exercises. So notice,
Yes.
notice here, important, ideas, discussions, opinions, suggestion, agreeing, disagreeing. It's mean. If someone of you said, I think that the best activity to relaxation is fishing because blah 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 blah, and the other one say, I agree with that. No. You need to exchange ideas, opinions, and then you need to choose the best one, right? But you need to argue, to exchange ideas. Because remember, what you're doing is showing to the judge your abilities to express your ideas, your fluency, your vocabulary, right? So keep it in mind. You need to try to develop your ideas, argue why your point of view is the right one. And you can be agree or disagree with the other one, right? It's like kind of like discussion. Okay, this is just something to have to take in account during this kind of exams. Now it says working pairs. Read the examiner's instructions and look at the task. Which phrases in the box below could you, let me try to read this, could you use to talk about each opinion? So here we have something to check. Sorry. Okay. It's too much. Here. I would like you to imagine that your college had won first prize in a competition. A trip for all students. Here are some ideas for trips that the student could do and a question for you to discuss. Talk to each other about how these different trips could benefit students. So this is the task, okay? So far so good. It is clear the task. Someone won a prize. It's a travel for all the class. You have some options, some places to travel, and you're going to discuss which is the best one for students. So, a city sightseeing tour. Remember that sightseeing es como de avistamiento, como de turismo, de ir a mirar, de moverse alrededor, ¿cierto? De un sitio turístico. A visit to a museum or art gallery. A weekend camping trip in mountains. A beach activity day. A visit to a theme park. So, how could each of these trips benefit students? So, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to prepare your ideas. Okay, if you want, you can take notes. And then you're going to discuss about these possibilities. These are the possibilities, okay? So please take 2 minutes to think about and to organize your ideas. I suggest you, if you can, write down keywords. Summarize your ideas. You can write a complete idea. You need just to write a word who help you to develop your speech or develop your idea. Just keywords. Okay? So 2 minutes. Go ahead, please. Think about it. Okay, it's time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so Ariana, go ahead. Ladies first. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I have like two options that I choose. So I think the camping trip will benefit the students the most because they can learn about a team work and enjoy nature.
Okay, and what about the other one? You mentioned two options, right?
Yes, the other one, yes, is a beach activity day. I think it's a fun and a good for health. The students can do is sports. They can swim and spend time together outside the class.
Okay, Mr. Javier, go ahead. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Mm, I agree. I agree because the best the um, inactivity and a beach or beach day is a good place to rest and to do more activities to can meet the other students. But in my opinion, I believe the sightseeing tour is a good second option because this trip is a low cost. um, the the students can knowing history found. For example, imagine the student won the prize in this in Guayaquil, the prize to travel or journey the Quito. Quito is a historical city in Ecuador. Um, this city contains historical towns or village. Uh, the student can know the history and the community and the the historical monuments. This a good good travel and no informado, mm, informativo, no sé cómo decirlo, informativo, but
Informative.
informative. I believe this.
Okay. So far so good. You did it pretty good. A short feedback. Okay, Mr. Javier, you mentioned that you agree with the camping trip in the mountains, right? No, at the beach, right? You mentioned it, beach, but a beach day activity. But then you started talking about another activity. So you're not agreed at all. So remember, you need to be agree or disagree. In this case, if you said you agree, you should argue about a beach activity day because you argue a different activity. So in this case, you're in disagree with Ariana, right? Be careful with that. And that's okay. Be disagree, it's okay because that gives you the opportunity to develop even more your speech and show your skills. But that's why we're just practicing. Just this is just a practice, okay? Good job. Thank you. This is pretty good. Mr. Javier, I love you. Always develop your speech as much as you can. You're really good at spontaneous speeches, okay? Well done. Arena, I know you did it good. I know it's not easy to develop something from zero in few time, but this kind of exam are like that, are not easy actually, because I have to present the meaning of this and it's pretty difficult. Okay, so let's check this. It says, become more confident because more independent, learn to work in team, coping in other languages, be educational, make a change for their everyday life. Sorry, what happened? I can read it this. Get a real thrill, I think. Have new experiences, appreciate other cultures, learn teamwork. You mentioned it about learn teamwork, right? Ariana, good job. the condition get away from the daily routine. So these are some argues as an example to talk about or to support these options, right? Okay, so far so good. Anyway, I love when you try it by yourself. That's great. Okay, let me see. Let's continue. What happened here? And remember that probably you're going to be doing this with an unknown people, con un desconocido, right? Okay, it's supposed to be here. Let me see something. So listen to two candidates, Miguel and Antonia, beginning this task. What benefit do they mention it for the three options? So let's listen. Give me a moment. I'm going to play that. This is B2. What happened? B2. B2 again. Track number 10, right? CD1. Let's listen.
Unit 3. Speaking Part 3. Exercise 2.
Do you hear clearly, or do you prefer I send you the audio?
I heard.
What
I
about
heard
you
it.
guys? Okay.
I heard it.
Okay, that's great. So let's continue.
Shall we start with this one? Okay. How do you think a sightseeing tour might be good for students?
I think you can learn a lot about architecture and history and things like that.
Yes, and also you can visit somewhere very different and learn about other cultures.
Right. What about this sort of activity holiday in the mountains? I think it can give young people exciting experiences and adventures, things they don't get in their everyday lives.
Yes, and they learn to be more independent because they're away from home and their families. Don't you think?
I think that's right. Also, they learn to work together to solve problems, so it's good for learning teamwork.
That's an important point. Because if the school's organizing the trip, it should be educational, shouldn't it? I mean, students have got to be learning something. And the beach activity day, what about that?
It sounds great, doesn't it? And I think just by doing sports and activities they don't normally do at school, students learn something.
I agree.
Okay. Notice that in this audio, they don't have a conclusion. They everything is agree, everything is okay, right? But the idea is you choose one. It's supposed to be. But I would like to highlight here, for example, the expression such as. Should we start with this one? Should we start as a suggestion? One of you suggests to start talking about one of the activities, right? It's a good way, Should we start with this? Blah, blah, blah. Then to continue with the other activities, they mention it. What about this one? What about that one, right? It's a good way to try to change the activities. It's a good phrases, okay? So now let's listen again and let's pay attention to the argues they use to support their ideas, okay?
Unit 3. Speaking Part 3. Exercise 2. Shall we start with this one?
Okay.
How do you think a sightseeing tour might be good for students?
I think you can learn a lot about architecture and history and things like that.
Yes, and also you can visit somewhere very different and learn about other cultures.
Right. What about this sort of activity holiday in the mountains? I think it can give young people exciting experiences and adventures, things they don't get in their everyday lives.
Yes, and they learn to be more independent because they're away from home and their families. Don't you think?
I think that's right. Also, they learn to work together to solve problems, so it's good for learning teamwork.
That's an important point. Because if the school's organizing the trip, it should be educational, shouldn't it? I mean, students have got to be learning something. And the beach activity day, what about that?
It sounds great, doesn't it? And I think just by doing sports and activities they don't normally do at school, students learn something.
I agree.
Okay, first of all, it was my bad. because here in the task is not to choose the best one, it's just to discuss about the benefit of each one, right? So in this case, you don't need to be agree or disagree, it's just to talk about the benefits, right? It was my bad. Talk about each other about how these different trips could benefit the student. Not the most benefit, it's just how these different trips could benefit the students. Okay, so what about the argues? What they said? What do you understand, Mr. Javier?
I understand the sightseeing tour in a city.
What they say about that?
Mm. About that is talking about the benefits to visit this place, right?
Yes, yes, for sure. Ariana, go ahead. Let's try.
I heard about a city signs in a tour. They talk about the students to learn about history, other uh, culture, uh, architecture, and it was a very different. And then they talk about a weekend camping in the mountains. Uh, they share that they're well for the benefits are that the students could learn to be more independent, learn about the team work, and they can that help to solve uh, solve uh,
Problems, right?
problems. Yes, and the third one they talk about the beach activity that the girl was agree because she thinks that it sounds uh, great, and the students could do like sports and learn something.
Okay, good job, Ariana. Well done. Very good. Congratulations. Okay, so far so good. This was an example, right? And you did it pretty good as well. So now it said, in speaking part 3, it is important for candidates to react to each other ideas and suggestions. So react to each other ideas and suggestions. Let me see here. So you can do this by asking each other question. Complete the student question below by reading a word or a phrase from the box in the gap. Then listen again and check your answers. So we're going to do individually to this, okay? So you have 3 minutes to complete these blanks, okay? With these words. And then we're going to listen again and check it, okay? To socialize. So please, 3 minutes to complete these questions with these words, okay? 3 minutes, go ahead. Okay, it's time. So let's listen and then we're going to complete it, okay?
Unit 3. Speaking Part 3. Exercise 2.
Shall we start with this one?
Okay.
How do you think a sightseeing tour might be good for students?
I think you can learn a lot about architecture and history and things like that.
Yes, and also you can visit somewhere very different and learn about other cultures.
Right. What about this sort of activity holiday in the mountains? I think it can give young people exciting experiences and adventures, things they don't get in their everyday lives.
Yes, and they learn to be more independent because they're away from home and their families. Don't you think?
I think that's right. Also, they learn to work together to solve problems, so it's good for learning teamwork.
That's an important point. Because if the school's organizing the trip, it should be educational, shouldn't it? I mean, students have got to be learning something. And the beach activity day, what about that?
It sounds great, doesn't it? And I think just by doing sports and activities they don't normally do at school, students learn something.
I agree.
Okay, so let's try to complete it. The first one, Ariana.
Shall we start with this one?
You're right. Should we start with this one? Okay, number 2, Mr. Javier.
Do you think a sightseeing tour of a city might be good for the students?
You're right. Number 3, Ariana.
What about this sort of activity?
What about this sort of activity? Number 4, Mr. Javier.
Number 4, yes, they learn to be more independent because they're away from home and their families. Don't you think?
Don't you think? Okay. And finally, number 5, Ariana.
What about that?
What about that? About the Okay, everything is correct. You did it perfectly. Congratulations. You completely understand the audio. So what about, let's try to do this again. We're going to discuss about this option, but in this case, remember, it's not to choose the best one, it's to talk about the benefits of each one, okay? So again, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to think about the benefit of each one of these activities, right? There's 5 activities. So go ahead, think about the benefit of each one, and then you're going to discuss. Try to introduce this kind of expressions or questions, right? To react to your classmates' opinions. So please think about it. 3 minutes. This is the last exercise for today.
In fact,
Tell me.
you could repeat I can hear you.
Okay, no worry. You're going to think about the benefit of each of these activities, right? 3 minutes. And then you're going to discuss. You'd like to do again the activity, but this time, keep in mind, you need to talk about each one of these right? Not the best one, each one. And try to introduce this kind of expression. Shall we start with this one? How do you think? Blah, blah, blah. What about this? What about that? Okay, try to introduce also that expression to improve your speech. It is
Okay.
clear, Mr. Javier? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Bye. Okay, let's try it because time is almost finished. So please, let's start it this time, Mr. Javier. Go ahead.
Finished. Ahí que Infinity. Ahí. Ah, ok. Sorry, perdón, es que tenía a mi bebé llorando, pero
No worries.
puedo decir. Algunas. Ok. I select a visit to museum or art gallery. I start with this one because uh, this place is I believe might be good for students because this short activity to can bring an information to historical culture about this place. Um, this about this place and can bring the the cultural identify about the people who can live in this town, in this city. Is all for me now.
Okay, what about you, Ariana? No worries, I understand.
Um, uh, yeah, that's a really interesting option. It can help students learn about it, history, uh, culture, and creativity. Um, they can see art in real life and maybe feel inspired for their own projects. Um, but what about this sort of activity? A, a weekend, a camping trips in the own times.
Okay, Mr. Javier, what do you think about
Mr.
that? Sorry, sorry. I went away. What happened? Okay. Okay, sure. So, Mr. Hayer, go ahead, please.
I agree with her because the benefits. Perdón, minister, no pude escuchar, no pude
Okay.
escuchar todo. He estado aquí, mi bebé se despertó muy temprano y se puso llora y llora.
Okay, no worries. So, Mr.
Está
Javier,
bien, perdón.
you can leave. No worries about that. I completely understand. So, see you on Monday. Remember to do the
Muchas
pecha coach,
gracias.
okay? See you. Take care.
Goodbye,
Bye
everybody.
bye. Take care. So, Ariana, sorry. Okay. I'm going to take the screenshot, but give me some minutes more, okay? 1 minute more. Okay, Ariana, actually you did it pretty good. You completely understand the activity, you introduce these kind of phrases, but the idea is to keep this in mind, right? Because I suppose when you finish B2, you're going to take this test, right? That's why it's important to practice this kind of activities, right? As I mentioned it before, probably you're going to be with an unknown people, unknown person, ¿sí? Van a estar con un desconocido. At least you go with a friend, right? So you're pretty good. You have a awesome listening understanding. You have good speech. Anyway, I know it's not easy, but in this kind of activities, you're given few time to prepare it. That's why you need to get ready, okay? So keep in mind this kind of expression can help you to sound more natural, right? Despite your answer. And you're doing pretty good so far. So congratulations, Ariana. Just keeping working, okay? Take care. See you on Monday. And remember to prepare pecha cocha.
Yes.
By the way, Ariana, do you have any question about pecha cocha?
No, I think
No,
no,
give me a moment, Ariana.
because
Okay.